The goal of this tutorial is to introduce you to the basics of Chicago style in 5 minutes or less. You will learn how to format footnotes and how to insert footnotes into your paper using Google Docs. Let's start with the difference between MLA and Chicago in-text citations. As you know, you must include an in-text citation anytime you refer to information you got from an outside source, namely quotes, paraphrases, and summaries. The left passage is written in MLA style using parenthetical citation. The same passage on the right column appears in Chicago style. We use Chicago style in history because in history research we refer to outside information more or less constantly throughout our papers, and using footnotes is less disruptive to the text than parenthetical citation. When using Chicago style notes, you'll often hear people use the term footnotes and endnotes interchangeably. Footnotes go at the foot of each page, and endnotes go at the end of the document. Otherwise, they are exactly the same. Every time you refer to an outside source, it becomes a new footnote in your paper. By the time you are done writing, you may be up to 30 or 40 footnotes, and each reference is its own new number. A footnote or an endnote has 3 different formats, but don't panic. If you have kept track of your sources in Noodlebib, Noodlebib will format the footnote for you. You just need to know when to use each form. The first form a footnote can take is the full form. You only use this form once, the first time you introduce a source. If you refer back to this source later on in your paper, you will use the second form an endnote can take, its shortened form. This includes the author's last name, an abbreviated form of the title, and always the page number if you are using a book, ebook, or any article with page numbers. The last form a footnote can take is an abbreviated form of the abbreviated form. When you have repeating references to a source in your paper, instead of using the short form over and over again, just use the author's last name and the page number, if there is one. We have now learned the 3 forms an endnote can take. First, the full footnote, which you only use once, the first time you refer to a source. Second, the abbreviated form, which you use for repeated references to one source. And third, the shortened form, which you use when you return to a source you have already used later on in your paper. We will now explore how to insert footnotes into your Google Docs paper. Note, if your particular word processor is not covered in this tutorial, try Googling it or check the Research Tools tab on the LibGuide. We'll start in Google Docs. First, you need some text. Place your cursor after the period where you need a footnote, and go into the Insert menu and choose Footnote. In Google Docs, there's no option between footnotes and endnotes. You must use footnotes. Once you've inserted your footnote, go into Noodle Tools to get the information for where you found this source. Note that in Noodle Tools there are 2 forms of the citation, the bibliography form, which goes in your bibliography, and the footnote format. You want the footnote format for your footnote. In the pop-up window, Noodlebib gives you the full and shortened form of each source's footnote, as well as further instructions on how to cite multiple sources in one sentence, and so on. Enter the page number for where you found the quote, copy the footnote up to the 1, and paste this footnote into your paper. Change the format to Times New Roman, and you're done. If we refer back to this source in the next sentence, we will use the author's last name and the page number. However, if we refer back to this source later in the paper, after using different sources in between, we'll use the shortened footnote form. Remember, if you're using an article from a database or a website where there is no page number, you will have to delete the page number in brackets when you copy the footnote into your paper. That's it. That's how to insert a footnote in Google Docs. If you need any help, please stop by the library and talk to a librarian.